This is Rotley. And his pig. It's 10 years into the apocalypse, the world destroyed by a virus some only knew briefly as the Knox infection. One man and his bicycle explore the ruins. Join me on this pedal-powered adventure deep into Knox Country, a story of Rotley, the man who has forgotten his real name, the sole survivor in a sea of the undead. We've got sprinters, R2-D2, tasty rats for dinner, comfortable basements, and a cold, harsh winter. This is 100 days as a bicycle nomad in Project Zomboid. Rotley wakes up on the floor of the small police station in Fallis Lake. He has no idea how he's ended up there, although the bottles of correction fluid pooled around him probably have something to do with it. He just loves that fishy tang. There are guns in the back room, but best not use those yet, rotters. He sneaks along the back of the building. The wind is short and sharp and sounds like the moaning undead. Rotley dispatches his first zombie outside the rural supply shop and bonks another over the head with a spade. Rotley loots the building, rummaging through books and seeds. Finds some beans, sneaks through the trees with his shovel and spies a zombie with a large bag on its back. Nice hair. Group of survivors here, no way. Little bit of toilet water. He investigates the bookshop at the edge of town and then heads out on a hunt for a can opener to open his lovely delicious can of beans. He doesn't remember his real name, by the way. He is only known as Rotley. What the hell is that? R2-D2? What are you doing here? Oops. We should not be awake when it's dark, is all I'm saying. Let's have a look inside. We do not want to be awake when it is dark. I repeat, the nighttime only spells disaster for rotters. The zombies love the night. Super strong, super fast. In the dark, he is prey. He wisely retreats to a building to spend his first night in. All things considered, that was a pretty damn lucky first day. A bag, books, booze and tools. An excellent start for the man called Rotley. Rotley seeks refuge in a small dark bedroom and places the R2-D2 model on the bed. He will share the evening with its soft metallic shell beeping and booping in his ear as he falls asleep. Rotley can't be outside when it's dark. It's a death sentence. On day 2, Rotley gets to business. Excuse me. This is my home. Sort of. Put R2 on the table. Me and you, R2 against the world. Call me C3P Rot. Rotley just loves this little bat. This looks promising. Where are you going? A little nibble on this chocolate bar. Plonk yourself down on this stool and have a little rest. That's it. And read a magazine. He looks like a little kid. Ah, little Rotley. Like his mum is working on the till and he's just sat in the back reading about cars. Every kill is a joy for Rotley, even after 10 years of crushing skulls. Handy knife, awesome. He decides to call the farm shop his home for now, but he needs a comfortable chair. These lovely pink ones will do. Just the chairs I want. God. Rotley is desperate for a cigarette. He's sad and agitated. Cigarettes are a rare thing, Rotley. Hopefully we can find you some soon. He heads back to the shop, opens his beans and slurps them down. The bean juice runs down his chin. A delicious can of beans, Rotley. Beans, Rotley. Rotley sits on his pink throne on the roof of the shop and reads in the cold afternoon air. In the distance he hears a little squeal. Glancing over the edge of a rooftop he spies a pig snuffling through the scraps and debris on the ruined street. A new friend, yes indeed. Tomorrow he will go and say hello to the pig. A pig would be so good to be our friend. Right, Rotley? Right, Rotley? Rotley falls asleep in the back room of the shop on a sleeping bag he found in the tool shop. It's not much, it feels pretty cheap, but it'll do. Day 3, Rotley is a Rotley in severe angst. Just look at all these moodles. The pig! Stay where you are, pig. Hi. Come with me. Come in. Excuse me. Pig secured, Rotley ventures beyond the confines of his little world. Here is an example of just how wrecked the cars are 10 years into the apocalypse. Thankfully for Mr. Rotters, he's soon going to find his own set of apocalypse-ready wheels. There's pigs everywhere. Pigs have taken over. First, though, moral dilemmas of the porky kind. That's actually awesome. That means we can probably just kill one? Question mark? Kill one for food? Question mark? No, not yet. We're not that desperate. We're not that desperate. Can't kill the last living things on Earth, Rotley. As Rotley loots these houses, I should stress that most of the loot in this world is insanely rare, though I did up the guns and ammo a bit, because I just want to shoot zombies. Is that a crime, to enjoy a succulent zombie meal? Clear up the neighborhood. You're making my pig angry! What should we call you, pig? I've got just the name. Rotley decides to name the pig Leslie, the name of his old best friend from a long, long time ago. Rotley always wondered what had happened to him in the apocalypse, but he'd never found him, and now he was certain his old friend had perished at the hands of the end of the world. Let's get some rest, little Rotley. Mr. Rotley. Hopefully you wake up at a more reasonable time today. Leslie, what are you doing? Can you calm down, please? Calm down. Day 4 is all about food, because Rotley is one hungry boy. Those pigs are looking mighty succulent. He finds a jar of radishes. This is so good, he needs all the food he can get. And a lovely little grow room downstairs. This is where they grow the radishes, clearly. This is a man determined. Survival is just another day for rotters. Rotley fills the back room with televisions to eventually disassemble them, watches Leslie the pig headbutt the door repeatedly, and stockpiles zombies' underwear in a box. This is where he's going to keep his underwear. Little freak. Sit on his lovely pink throne and read about foraging. Leslie the pig loves to headbutt the door. Classic Leslie. Classic Leslie, that is, I tell you. Classic Leslie. Yeah, that's good. On day 5, he says hello to Leslie the pig and then ventures out. Little bit of duct tape in my hand. I'm gonna have to kill the mice because I'm gonna have to eat them. Zombies hiding around the trees does make this a little difficult. Rotley finds 2 packs of cigarettes in the gas station. His life is saved and his lungs are ruined. Oh, that is delicious, Rotley. Read this magazine about how to make a fishing rod. He takes a little nap because he's been sleeping so poorly. Don't forget to set an alarm. Alright, so he checks off the buildings he's looted on the map. Excellent progress, little rot man. Oh, jeez, okay. While rummaging through buildings, Rotley finally finds his new ride, a bicycle, shiny, chrome, well-oiled, even 10 years later, preserved perfectly in the dusty shed. Ah, Rotley and his bicycle. Now the adventure can really begin. That's so cool. The controls are a little bit difficult to get my head around. Oh, this is lovely. Cycling through the woods with my pigs. Living the dream. Oops. Yeah, but careful of the trees. Yeah. It's a little bit buggy, but it's not too bad. Ah! Ah! On day 6, he sets out exploring on his new bicycle. Ah, this is the life. It's very peaceful, and then, well, Project Zomboid always has other plans. Now, actually, if I remember correctly, which I do, because Rotley never forgets, Rotley remembers that he has a bicycle lamp and a basket in one of the boxes in the back room. Bicycle lamp? And a basket? We can attach those to the bike, I guess. Cute! Whoa, Rotley. Oh my god, a sprinter. What the hell? What the hell? I thought you were only meant to come out at night. Oh, we got him. We got him with the last hit. Oh my god. Well, that changes everything. And I mean that in the literal sense, not the YouTuber sense. That does actually change how cautious I have to be going forwards. I thought they only came out at night, but clearly some of them have evolved. At least we can outrun them on our bicycle, Rotley, hey? The addition of sprinters has made this a much more intense experience. Some of the dead are extremely slow and some are extremely fast. Rotley has to be very cautious in the coming days. Will he survive? Hello, flamingos. We have to play so carefully around these trees, Rotley, especially with sprinters now. Like that. Oh, like that. Oh my god. Right. Oh, yeah, I would be scared too, to be honest. I am scared, actually. Hello. Hello, my name's Rotley. Come on in. What would you like to order from the takeout? One. Smack to the head. That was a nice pair of underpants. I think we'll grab those. Oh, really underpants. Rotley will be taking those. You want to investigate this lake? It's very beautiful. Rotley cycles along the ruined streets, past the snuffling pigs and squeaking mice. The wind around his ears, cool on his face, nature slowly replacing the world of the undead with life, foliage and leaves. Whoa, 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 whoa! Jeez. Oh yeah, the pigs come to join me. It's a solid idea. It's safe in here. Rotley gets out of breath quickly because he's a smoker. Smoking is not cool, kids. Rotley can smoke all he wants, though. His life already sucks. Every day is an adventure with Rotley and his bicycle. Cycle right away from the zombies. Bicycles are OP in the apocalypse. Hello, Leslie. How are you? It's okay, I'm your friend. On the roof of the farm shop, Rotley ponders his future plans. With a bicycle, he can scoot through the fields on the hunt for loot. Food is the most pressing thing, especially because he doesn't want to kill those lovely, succulent, delicious pigs. He could turn the farm shop into an impressive little base, but Rotley yearns for the road. He hasn't survived for 10 years in the apocalypse just sitting around. It's all about adventure and the next great prize. So I think this area, this town, is already clear. It didn't take us very long. How long have you been kicking? 5 days. 5 days to clear a town? Except for the bit we were just in, of course. But it's not bad. He will, however, hang around for a few days to read all the books and make sure the town is completely clear of the undead. On the morning of day 7, he lights up the barbecue inside, don't do this at home, and burns his ID to cook a rat. Just delectable, the rat tastes very ratty. It's not so bad, Rotley, it's not so bad. It made him cry. Smoke that rat flavour away. Cleanse your mouth of the rat with some filthy cigarette. Should I leave the barbecue just burning in my house? Probably not. But I don't know how to turn it off. Hopefully it'll be fine. Photograph of garbage. Ah, beautiful. It's what Rotley's always wanted. Oh my god. Alright, now that scared me. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The game, it still knows how to get you. And he returns to his normal routine. Little bit of looting, little bit of reading. After looting all day, Rotley settles in to do some carving. He wants to reach level 7 so that he can carve short bats, his preferred apocalyptic weapon. Here, I'm just going to pour some water on your head. Day 8, he cycles around town, mopping up the undead. Wow, look at this place. And a magazine of hotties. Now we can eat as many rats as we want. That's how life works. Oh my god, she's there. Man, it never gets any easier. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours in this game, and it still just tickles me. I mean, Rotley has been alive for 10 years and it still scared the hell out of him. She had a note on her. Yes, I'll hide just down here. They'll never find me if I hide just down here. I'll be safe. Safe. Sorry, lady. He does a little foraging, which tires him out. Who knew picking up twigs was so exhausting? Just a normal man, just an innocent man, just sat in the park on his own, reading a book. It's a bit cold, -2 degrees. A book, berry, and some cigarettes. In a peaceful suburban park. And a bike ride home. Doesn't sound too bad, Rotley. Doesn't sound too bad. Rotley cycles home to Leslie. And so day 8 comes to an end. Rotley has secured his bicycle. Now it's only a matter of time before he hits the road on his next grand adventure. The only way to survive the apocalypse is to keep moving, stick to the shadows, only move during the daytime, and eat as many beans as you can find. Rotley has established himself as the king of Phallus Lake, the man with the greatest member of all time, probably the very best on Earth at this point. With pigs and plenty of loot, you might be tempted to settle in the farm shop and wait out the winter, but this is Rotley, and the adventure must go on. First, he tries to find the makings of a makeshift tent. If you're enjoying so far, please consider subscribing. This challenge drove me absolutely insane. As you can see, much appreciated. He spends the morning of day 9 hunting for a tarp, which he wants to use to make a tent. If he's going on an adventure, he needs a tent. Unfortunately, he can't find one anywhere. Rotley keeps hunting, though. You never know what you're going to find in the apocalypse. Wearing a lovely pair of underpants. I'll grab those. He heads out again and finds this trailer full of lovely chortling turkeys, which he promptly releases. Spread life, Rotley. This is your purpose. God is always watching. You hear that, Rotley? He's watching you collect underwear. Just have a little rest here, Rotters, next to the religious barbecue. Rotley investigates the church, but there's nothing of any use inside. He returns to the farm shop without a tarp, really the only thing he's looking for, and sees that Leslie the pig has broken free of his rope. That's alright, little guy. We're out of here soon anyway. Without a tarp, exploration becomes pretty difficult. We'll need to dip between buildings rather than just plopping down a tent wherever we like. But Rotley shall persevere. Ah, we're in Phallus Lake. Of course we are. This is the said Phallus. Oh, hi Leslie. You actually scared the absolute living shit out of me, pig. Gnome, Chomsky, R2-D2 and Claptrap. Who would have thought? Best of friends. Bit chilly up here. Nothing quite like reading in the snow, is there? Oh, there's chicken outside. Let's come to say hello and say, thanks for rescuing me. Day 11 is all about foraging because Rotley's food situation is looking a little dire. He finds some poisonous berries, don't eat those, Rotley, and some chewing gum in a bin. It's not much, but it's honest work. Binned gum. Delicious. That chicken's head is in a rather unfortunate spot. Maybe Rotley likes that kind of thing. In the evenings, he spends his time carving. Large handles, medium handles, small handles. Rotley will become a master carver. Day 12, much the same. He wants to reach the next level of foraging before going on his adventure. Berries will be the only thing keeping him alive. After a day of foraging, he returns to the back room, reads for a while, then falls asleep on his uncomfortable sleeping bag. Raccoons and chickens, it's a veritable hamburger of wildlife, Rotley. Those are not chickens, they're turkeys, Rotley, hence the turkey noises they are making. It's a foggy day today, which means foraging is gonna suck, but he presses on regardless. On day 13, he finally reaches the next level and then cuts down some trees for logs to level up his carving. In a moment of sad and desperate panic, he realizes he's in fact out of matches, which means no cigarettes. This is before Rotley realized he can just use the barbecue to light the cigs, but he's a simple man, so we can forgive him for now. On day 14, Rotley begins preparing for his trip out of Phallus Lake. He brings a bunch of supplies, like some books he hasn't read, his meager food supplies, tools, meds, and of course his beloved photograph of garbage. He spends the rest of the day comfortably reading as he wants to be ready for the next big adventure. And so on day 15, Rotley heads out, just him and the bicycles. The wheels rumble on the degrading tarmac and the trees whip around him. The air is cool and clear. Sometimes Rotley doesn't mind being the only man on Earth. He can soak in all of the joy of life in utter peace and quiet until the zombies start chasing him. Goodbye, Leslie. Rotley has to say goodbye to his beloved pig Leslie, who he hopes will be okay. See you later, buddy. Good luck. He finds this little farmhouse as his first stop. Rotley really has to be careful about where he spends the night. He forages for some berries in the woods behind the house. It's still just the afternoon, so Rotley hops back on the bike and follows the tracks, hopefully towards Riverside. He finds another path and follows, hoping there's another house for a temporary respite from the hard day's cycling. He finds another little cluster of buildings up the way. SpongeBob. Hi! Rotley found some chewing tobacco on a dead guy outside, and it is so juicy and delicious in his mouth. His agitation is soothed. He feels like a real bag of rot again. He takes a small break to admire his photograph of garbage, falls asleep on the comfy bed, and lays behind a cool card of one of the pairs of underwear, then hits the road on his bicycle again. Alright, let's keep it moving. Yep, that's... Oh my god, a sprinter. Cycle away. Cycle away. Oh, where are you going? Oh my god. Oh my god, 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 oh my god. Cycle. Did we lose it? I don't know. I actually don't know if we lost it or not. Could still be chasing us. I think we probably lost it in the trees though. Okay. We lost it. Ay, ay, ay. Do we check out these houses or do we keep pushing on? I think we keep pushing on. After that run-in with the sprinter, Rotley heads south towards the river. You can almost smell it on the air. As an aside here, this challenge has revolutionized the way I think about Project Zomboid. In slowing down the pace to just 2 wheels, you really take in quite how large Knox Country is. What an excellent game. An absolute masterpiece. He finds this first house, not much inside, and then another little group. Get used to this house. Rotley is unexpectedly going to spend a few days going mad in this one. He shovels more tobacco into his mouth and then rests up after the long cycle with a quick read. Rotley spies the river through the trees. He wants to go fishing but needs bugs for bait, so it's back to foraging. Unfortunately, the winter is approaching and bugs are scarce. Wow. The river. It's peaceful in the ruined house as the rain pours hard outside. The rain turns to snow as the evening draws in and a cold wind rips through the shattered walls of the building. This is a sign of things to come, a long, hard winter, and Rotley will face many trials and tribulations before he feels the warmth of the sun on his cheeks again. The snow is settling. Overnight into day 17, a heavy storm rolls in. He collects some logs in the pouring snow. Rotley wants to craft a fishing rod, but he has no paper clips, so he turns his hands to carving. Can't forget about his photograph of garbage. He crafts handles, then smoking pipes. So many smoking pipes. Oh, it's absolutely miserable out here, rotters. He crafts many pipe, and then a bone fishing hook, although he's not sure how many fish he'll find in the ice-cold river. He's sad again. How can you be sad? Look at your glorious life. Rotley is miserable, but it's too cold outside to venture any further. This is your prison, Rotley. He reads before bed and tries to sleep through the howling winds. He needs food, so he's forced into the blizzard to search for berries. His fingers are icy, -12 degrees, cold enough to kill a man. He doesn't last long outside and sprints back to the house and pulls out his favourite photograph of garbage. The only thing keeping him sane is that lovely pile of shite. The brazen cold wind rattles the empty window frames, his cheeks turn icy cold. All he can do is carve like your fingers depend on it, Rotley. We shall build a cross. We shall worship at it, Rotley. We shall worship at it. Yes? Who are you praying to? God is dead, Rotley. God is dead. By 2 p.m, the storm has eased off a little bit, so Rotley can head out again to stock up on his meagre food supplies. Carve 14 pipes. Imagine stumbling across this. There's another lone survivor. It's just a cross in the middle of the room, surrounded by handmade smoking pipes. Very bizarre. Very bizarre, Rotley. Okay. One more night's sleep. Maybe the snow will blow over tomorrow and we can head out again. I'd love to find a lighter. He's desperate for a cigarette. Unfortunately, the storm does not pass. It's another day stuck largely indoors, carving. And that's a lot of smoking pipes. Rotley does get a chance to forage on this day. He finds some incredible winter cherries. They are red and shiny, like little balls of love hanging from a frozen tree. Do cherries grow in Kentucky in the winter? Let's not ask too many questions. This is a sign from the divine garbage god, and Rotley is thankful. Yes, all the mountain of smoking pipes. So many pipes. Agitated and weepy. He's crying. Little Rotley is crying. He's absolutely miserable. What do you mean? You're living the absolute best life, Rotley. Tomorrow we need to leave. Hopefully there's not another storm, otherwise we're screwed. On the following day, the storm finally passes. The temperature is up a few degrees. He needs to keep pressing on for food and for cigarettes. The path onwards is wild and overgrown. Pavement meets grass, all covered in a thick layer of snow. The bicycle's wheels carve through the soft white tarmac. He kills his first few zombies in a few days. There are more houses along the way. They are largely empty of loot, so he heads out on a foraging trip now that the weather is slightly less stormy. He is absolutely starving, so when he spies a rat running through the undergrowth, he gives chase like a man deranged. He slams the mouse over the head with his iron pipe. Delicious. He manages to light a fire using a notched plank and some twigs. His first warmth in some days. Nice, we did it. Good job, mate. I can even smoke a cigarette now because we have a fire. Ah, there we go. That should help alleviate some of that stress, rotters. Rotley butchers the rat and skewers it on a stick and roasts it over the fire. Although this is disgusting, Rotley does sort of enjoy it. It tastes a little bit like chicken. Yeah, that's the good stuff. He spends the evening in front of the fire, watching the coals. On the following day, the adventure must continue. Rotley needs food and cigarettes. He cycles throughout the morning until he spies a small path jutting from the main road. A rabbit. Rabbits are so important. How are we ever going to get one, though? Just have to chase one, I think. Go, Rotley, go. Oh, they're so fast. Well, at least it's this guy. The baby rabbit. Oh, this is horrible. After brutally hammering a baby rabbit to death, Rotley continues. Damn. You ever try to hunt a rabbit with a hammer? It's not that easy. There's an isolated farmhouse up ahead, a decent place to spend the evening. He does some more scrabbling around in the dirt, looking for anything to calm his angry belly. There are some more berries in the wood, but they don't do much for his hunger. Thankfully, there's a bunch of them, enough to keep him sated for now. Rotley returns to the house and gets another fire started. Ah, the smell of a roasting baby rabbit. What a delicious scent, Rotley. Just scrumptious. There you go, that should keep you satiated for a little while. Still losing weight, but we're not on an unhealthy value yet. We'll leave the tiny baby rabbit's brain. A little shrine to our little baby rabbit friend who keeps us well fed in these trying times. Thank you very much. All right, little rotters. Admire the world outside your window, and we'll get some sleep. Tomorrow, we venture into Riverside. He continues cycling until he reaches a small gated community on the edge of Riverside. There are a few local residents to deal with first. Lovely can of ice-cold spaghetti bolognese. Just delicious. Rotley finds this small basement with an antique stove inside the perfect place to hole up for a few days. Ah yes, just a few days, Rotley. Of course, you'll only be here for a few days. He was, in fact, viewer, here for a lot more than a few days. Everything goes a little bit wrong. With a temporary base scouted out, Rotley goes foraging again to stockpile some berries. While he's out, he also collects some wood so that he can start a fire. He sits on the sleeping bag and reads in the fire's warm glow. It's the best he's felt in days. On the next day, he heads out to forage again and finds some delicious winter limes. Don't question it, roll with it. A delicious wild winter lime. And lemons. Limes and lemons, citrus. At least we won't get scurvy. After a full day of foraging, he returns to the basement with a bag full of limes and lemons and a new gnome friend. He pulls the mortar mixer across the doorway to keep out any of the curious undead. He decides to investigate a few more of the houses today, but there are a few too many unfriendly folk. It feels like a good time as any to treat himself to the bottle of wine he'd found a few days previously, so he slurps it down greedily in front of the roaring fire. He has big plans for the next day, but he is met with stern resistance on the foggy, cold, dead streets of Riverside. Oh my god, okay. Stay calm. Just cycle out of there. Yeah, that's it. Just gonna cycle through the town. Oh my god, this is horrible. Rather than stop and tangle with the dead, he just keeps cycling. Until there, through the fog, something beautiful appears. Oh. Gigamart. This could be our saving grace, Rotley. He makes his way as stealthily as possible into the Gigamart. He clears out a few of the zombies and then scours the shelves for food. There's actually a disappointing amount, but it's still enough to keep him going for a couple of days at least. The building is constantly under an onslaught of zombies though, and he has to be sensible unless he wants to get caught out far from home. He does find some beans, but currently has no pot to cook them with. Keep these beans in mind though, he'll be back for them later. The back rooms are also disappointingly empty. He peeks upstairs, but it's just empty offices and empty tables. More zombies have gathered outside. He takes out a few, but there's a large horde grouping on the top windows. Rotley is growing tired. Want to see? Best bit? Get out of here. Go back the way we came. Yeah, cycle like your life depends on it, Rotley, because it does it. In fact, depend on it. Oh my god, there's so many. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. When he gets back to the basement, still alive, he tries to light a fire, but the only branch he has snaps in the process. It's too dark to forage now, so it will be a cold night tonight. Oh well, just me and Gnome Chomsky hanging out in a cold basement. Some pork rinds just to keep us going. Drink all the rest of our wine as well. Seems fair enough. I'd like to say that it was going to be a healthy relationship between hovel and man, but this place will become a literal prison in just a few days. Poor old Rotley. He tries so very hard, but Project Zomboid has other plans for our little rot man. Holes. They are beautiful things. Humankind has lived in holes for all of time. They will live in holes long after you and I are gone. A hole is the perfect place for a man like Rotley. I'm sorry to say that this bicycle nomad run begins to take, well, a really bloody turn. On day 25, Rotley settles into his new existence in the basement. He goes foraging in the morning for delicious limes, cooks a rat for breakfast, so juicy, tries to climb a fence but fails and says hello to more of the neighbours. Unfortunately, he becomes physically tired and mentally exhausted, so it's back to the hovel. It turns out lemons, limes and roasted rats do not maketh a man. He reads, then falls asleep with the picture of garbage clutched close to his chest. Day 26. More foraging, more zombies. Zombie in the sink, zombie in the sink. There's quite a few here, so Rotley begins some kind of cursed game of duck, duck, goose around the building, looping the dead in and out. He is eventually able to kill them all using the neat fence trick. Then it's back to the hole to have a cig and to add to the pile of ever-growing shite in his little bedroom. He whittles away the evening, carving wood. On day 27, more foraging. It's only the berries keeping him alive right now. In the afternoon, he spies a rabbit. Maybe he can catch it between the trees and the fence line, but it doesn't go well. He tumbles into the snow, scratch on his face. And we'll get some more rest. Just about clinging on to survival here, Rotley. Day 28 brings some bad news. It turns out a diet of lemons and dead rats isn't enough to sustain his weight. He needs to push it to town and clear out some more houses. But as always, he is met with the unstoppable force of the dead. It's simple enough to fight and then run away, but sometimes the zombies like to fight back. Oh my god. Oh, that was horrible. I heard her coming. Rotley goes into the wrong house by accident, and the basement is actually way nicer than his little hole. He finds some wine and ketchup on the tables downstairs. This guy was clearly having an end-of-the-world party. He can't tell if that's blood or ketchup all over the guy's face. He's just having a solo party, a little steak dinner on the pool table all to himself at the end of the world. What a legend. The street is packed with party hat-wearing zombies, which usually mean booze and cigs in a nearby house. But it's a damn big party, and there are just too many dead. He manages to smash another rat to death with his hammer. That's dinner sorted, at least. After a semi-successful day, he cycles home. Rotley roasts the rat and eats it with his bare hands. He could move into the nicer basement next door, but to be honest, Rotley is starting to like his dirty little hole. Yeah, it's pretty cozy in here, Rotley, isn't it? It's full of trash. But you love trash, don't you, Rotley? Good night. Good night, Nomi. Ketchup for breakfast, of course. Day 29 brings some respite in the weather. He tackles a bunch of zombies. But just as before, he gets too tired out to fight such a large group. So he returns to the hole and spends the rest of the day carving items. Back to your hole, Rotley, where you belong. He levels up to level 8 in carving, which allows him to carve short bats. Honestly, one of the best weapons in Project Zomboid currently. Lightweight, easy to swing, lots of damage, easy to craft. Just ideal. And look at our picture of garbage. Oh, it's beautiful. Rotley has been alive for almost a month, and although his weight is decreasing, it's still at a manageable level. We will need to find more food soon, though. He trims his beard and his hair. Sharpen yourself up a little bit, Rotters. There we go. Looking very snazzy. Day 30, and it's time to test out these new short bats. Got a tiny little mouse. Food is food. We'll eat what we can take. The Lord is my shepherd. I wish he'd be my shepherd. Come here and be my shepherd, please. He wants to take a closer look at the Gigamart again, but the car park is filled up with the dead. Rotley takes a rest on this bench. After all that bonking, Rotley is too tired to push into the mart, so he returns to the bike and cycles home to the hole. He did, however, find a cooking pot today, so he can create a delicious bean soup. It's basically the only normal food he's eaten in weeks. He has a roasted mouse for dessert. Crying because you have to eat mice. It's either that or you starve to death, Rotley. There's not many options, really. And we'll look at our photograph of garbage, of course, as well. And that Kirby looks so sad. Yeah, I know. That's how I feel. On day 31, he's off out again to go to the Gigamart. The undead have other plans for him. Oh my god. Oh my god. When you hear that screeching sound, you know that they are coming for you, Rotley. Another sprinter. Okay. Split off from the group. Okay, well dealt with. Well dealt with. Just stay calm, Rotley. Unfortunately, he can't keep fighting when he's tired, not when there are sprinters around. He rests in a destroyed kitchen. He is eventually able to sneak into the Gigamart and grab those beans from earlier. Rotley investigates the middle of town on his bicycle. If he encounters another sprinter, he wants to be able to get away. As expected, there are a lot of zombies in town, so he heads back the other way, sticking to the outskirts for now. Where are they all coming from? This is crazy. On his bike ride home, the world shifts around him. Bizarre glitch in the Matrix, but really it's just all the snow melting in one go. We can, at least, make a very large bean soup, I think, which should be great for our calories. It's so orange and red. How did you get that magical flavour, Rotley? He even has a pillow for his sleeping bag now. At least it won't be quite as uncomfortable as before. Right, let's get some rest on your new lovely pillow. Rotley wakes up from a bad dream, so he just stands in the basement, staring into the void. Because that is making him feel crazy, he reads Pride and Prejudice. Prejudice. His task is simple. Consume all beans. Slurp, 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 slurp. Sit and stare at the wall, Rotley. Yes, touch the wall. Rub the wall with your gloved hands, you little freak. His weight is finally going up. He's fattening up like a polar bear before winter. While foraging, he has an epiphany. Acidic forest. Is that why it's so full of citrus fruits? He has no idea. According to scientists who know more about trees than either me or Rotley, citrus trees cannot grow in Kentucky, particularly in the winter months. Perhaps the Knox infection also affected the trees, in some kind of strange way. We will never know. Rotley returns to the hole and consumes more beans. His weight is now rapidly increasing. Because he feels so good, he builds a crude log bookcase to keep his things on. My god, my guy's just mainlining citrus. He just ate like 1,700,000 limes. Though he is coming to love his little hole, Rotley must ultimately keep moving. It is his doctrine, his one true mission. The Roma, 2 wheels and the open road. In the morning, he makes some preparations to leave, mostly carving a bunch of short bats to carry with him. Rotley will take some essentials with him, mostly his limes and his tools. Then it's off, back onto the road. Poor little Rotley. He has no idea how badly his life is about to take a horrible turn. Oh, that's a sprinter. I actually think that's another sprinter there. Yeah, that's sprinter number 2. Yeah, okay. It's a good start. Double sprinter to start the journey. Fantastic. Disaster in 3, 2, 1. Always like to loot most of the buildings on the way because you never really know. What the just happened? Are my shoes broken? Yeah, I've got broken shoes. Fuck, that's annoying. I just stepped on broken glass. Oh, now oh man, this isn't good. And just like that, Rotley has utterly buggered himself. 2 deep cuts full of glass on his feet. A pair of ruined shoes. That's crazy. It's going to take me so long to heal. I'm bleeding all over the place. He is going absolutely nowhere anytime soon, especially not with sprinters around. Christ. And so begins a truly awful, miserable spiral in Rotley's life. Yeah, I know, Rotley. I know. Let's just try and yoink some shoes off one of these guys. Looks like we're not going anywhere then for a couple of days. Shit. What a terrible start to our journey, Rotters. I cannot believe it, Rotley. What a disaster. He can only rest in the house. He can't venture out in the dark. Hopefully the zombie he can hear downstairs doesn't interrupt his sleep. Rotley curls into a ball of pain in bed and tries to rest. The zombie does indeed arrive in the morning, and the table in front of the door saves his life. Rotley stares into the dead man's face as he slowly destroys the table. Rotley can't pick up the table, otherwise the zombie will eat him. So they're stuck in this horrible stalemate, until the zombie does eventually burst the table into a pile of splinters. Delbert Curry. Nice to meet you, Delbert Curry. Rotley needs to retreat. Yes, that's right, back to his stinky little hole. He hasn't got his needle and thread, and he needs to stitch the gaping wounds in his feet. First, he just needs to ride his bike. Poor little guy. Can you imagine riding a bike with glass in your feet? My God. Back in the hole, he can't find his needles. Where the hell did you put them, Rotters? So he has no needle, but he can craft a bone needle. But first he needs to find a stone to smash the skulls to get bone pieces, and to get a stone he needs to hobble out into the storm. What a miserable little life. Eventually his plan does come together. He is able to disinfect the wounds with the small amount of whiskey he has left, and then stitches them up with the bone needle and a couple of pieces of thread. Rotley can't believe he only made it a single day on his grand adventure, and he's already back in this gross little hole. He has no food, his feet are in excruciating pain, but at least... Ah, yes, the lovely picture of garbage. Let's look at our picture of garbage. Rotley really loves this picture of garbage. It's about the only thing that's keeping him sane. I love foraging. He goes foraging in the rain before it gets too dark and finds yet more lemons. In fact, he finds a whole lot of citrus fruits. That's okay with him. They'll keep him alive. It's an extremely citrus-heavy diet, but I'm gonna take what I can get, Rotley. Rotley gorges on lemons. Delicious. Might as well just sleep. There's not much else I can do. Just hope my wounds sort of fix themselves up. Good night, Rotley. So begins the long days of suffering. He forages. He sits in the basement sheltering from the winter storms. He carves. He forages. He retreats to the basement. He eats lemons and limes. He smokes his dwindling cigarette supplies. He sleeps. He smokes. He suffers. Man is nothing but a machine full of broken glass and lemons. He forages, tends to his wounds. His feet will not heal. He sleeps. He forages. Rotley smokes his last cigarette. Our last cigarette, Rotley. The last one. Enjoy it, buddy, because I don't think you're going to be having another one for a little while yet. Not until your feet get better, anyway. These are rough days ahead, little friend. And Rotley sleeps. Limes, small green gems. They do not grow in Kentucky. They definitely do not grow in the winter. But without them, Rotley would surely be dead. The next few days of Rotley's life are a challenge for him and for me. The world went wrong on a Tuesday. By Wednesday, my toes were blue. Thursday, I ran out of hope. Friday, I ran out of shoes. But there were lemons. God, there were lemons. Limes, too. Buckets of them. Sun bright and bitter, as if the trees had planned for this. I sucked them slow, in halves, in time. Left cheek for lemon, right for lime. I press my tongue against the pulp and wait for the light to change. I think of dancing, of not limping, of shoes that didn't leak, of socks that didn't weep. The cold was constant. It gnawed at the gaps in his bones. He wrapped himself in a mildewed curtain he'd found behind the old log stack. The fabric smelled like Rotley, or perhaps that was his own stank. Time lost all meaning. He spoke to the limes, gave them names, sang them lullabies in a thin, cracking voice. They were his guests, his children, his gods. And still, he could not leave. And still, he ate. In a basement where cold shadows climb, sat Rotley devoured by time. With no legs to flee, he ate limes endlessly. Each bite was a sour little crime. The endless suffering and hundreds of seeds. Rotley down on his knees, his needs so simple. Give me a break, Project Zomboid. Give me a rest. I am but a little man, just rot at best. Avocado, better hot. That's just not true. Hot avocado is disgusting. Rotley has been foraging and suffering for days. Just look at all these seeds. God damn, that is a lot of seeds we have. He prepares the vegetables and mushrooms and wild eggs he's found, eggs he's found, and puts them in a delicious stir-fry. Spring has sprung ever so slightly and the forests are abundant. His feet have still not healed, and he is stuck forever in this little hole. Unfortunately, the stir-fries do not seem to be fixing his weight issues. He is constantly losing weight. Rotley is slowly starving to death, even though he is gorging himself on vegetables and fruits and eggs Surely our weight has to go up. We just ate 3 huge stir-fry plates of vegetables. You don't die, you don't starve to death if you eat vegetables. No vegetarians allowed in Project Zomboid, apparently. Rotley is currently eating 4 or 5 stir-fries a day, but it's making no difference. He's wasting away. Even a delicious toilet water and peas stew is not enough to satiate his weakening body. He has found quite a lot of bugs while foraging, but it's too risky to venture out with his wounded feet. One sprinter and it's lights out for rotters. Oh no, Rotley. Oh god. His feet are still infected. A frog. Okay, that's something. I can eat frog. Unfortunately, viewer, you cannot eat frog. Trust me, you can. Frog is delicious. Fried on a grill. God damn, it's so good. Rotley does not have the required knowledge to cook a frog, though, unfortunately. This actually annoyed me a bit, as you can hear. What do you mean you can't eat frog? I'm starving to death here. Obviously you can eat frog. His health, his weight is still going down. What the fuck? We've eaten so many eggs. I think we probably ate 10 eggs. Good night, Rotley. May the suffering continue forever. Rotley was starting to go mad. I was starting to go mad. I'd now been in this basement for 3 real-life hours, passing the days, foraging and whittling away. All we can do to try and survive is make more stir-fries. So that's what we'll do. The suffering is eternal, Rotley. This half-broken frying pan. Rotley has many, many vegetables, and yet he must starve. He has no mouth, and yet he must cry. He cries for vegetables, and yet they do not fulfill him. The man is scratched from head to toe. His feet ache. His belly rumbles, even though it is full of vegetables. Rotley is cursed. He falls asleep praying to everything that is wholly left in the ether, that his feet will heal themselves overnight. But when he wakes up, his feet still ache. Rotley spends an entire day slaving over the antique oven. He slices vegetables, he fries them, he eats them, and he still starves. The Sisyphean struggle against the mechanics of a world that no longer makes sense. He eats several stir-fries, falls asleep in a food coma, and awakes to a gnawing in his stomach and a pain in the battered soles of his poor feet. Rotley is still starving. Rotley asks the Frog Council for help. The frogs stare back at him. The frogs are dead. He can only forage, and he can only sleep. It is now the 8th of March. Rotley has been incapacitated for a long time, weeks at this point. He continues foraging. He must eat even though it does not fill him. Rotley returns to the hole. He fries vegetables. He eats. He sleeps. He falls into a deep slumber, crusty tears on his face. When will it end? On the following day, Rotley wakes. He has had enough. He reaches down and rips the stitches from his feet, and oh my god. It was the stitches. He can move. He can move. He can move. Oh my god, he can move. He can move. He can move. Rotley can move. He can move. All this time he's been able to move. I just needed to remove the stitches. I just needed to remove the stitches. I have maybe almost 1,000 hours in this game. Why didn't I know all I needed to do was remove the stitches? I've been doing this for hours. Rotley has been able to move for a long time. Oh my god. Rotley. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel too. I can't believe that. That is hilarious. And so Rotley, after days of unnecessary angst, is finally ready to hit the road again. I'm sorry, little man, I have let you down, but I hope the next few days of fortunate finds and exploration more than make up for it. Godspeed, Rotters. Hello, Rotley. Rotley begins making some preparations, mostly loading up the bike with supplies, and at last, after 2 or 3 or 4, I have no idea how long he was in that basement, he finally hits the road. His feet still ache a little bit, but it feels great to be on the move again. Most importantly, he can run from the sprinters if needed. Rotley returns to the scene of the disaster and takes a quick look at his shoes. A couple of holes, but he won't be standing on any glass anytime soon. Be careful out here, Rotley. You're probably a little rusty. He goes from house to house, hunting for food scraps in the ruins. Back to normal. Rotley is in desperate need of some more substantial feed after surviving on nothing but limes and lemons and later eggs and mushrooms. In a garage of one of the houses, he finds a box of canned spaghetti bolognese. He is saved. He rips off his mask and eats 3 cans immediately. The Project Zomboid gods provide again. A bounty of spaghetti bolognese. The gods continue to shine brightly after his weeks of turmoil. He finds an actual fishing rod in a cupboard. He celebrates with even more cans of spaghetti. Rotley presses on, clearing this house of party hat-wearing zombies on the lookout for booze and chips and cigarettes. It almost goes terribly wrong. Rotley is a little bit rusty. Hi. What the fuck? He finds a house to sleep in for the night, blockading the doorway with blue plastic chairs. Rotley drinks a whole carton of wine and reads a book about cute dogs, as he's feeling rather sad about everything. Yeah, look at that dog. It looks just like a waterfall. I'm pointing at it, but obviously you can't see me pointing, but that dog looks surprisingly like a waterfall. I love how he's just like rubbing his hand over the pages. He's just stroking it. Does anyone read like this? Do you read like this? The morning is fresh and birds cheep in the trees. Spring is slowly creeping in. Of course, the world isn't peaceful. It's full of unimaginable horrors. Oh, hello. Oh my god, it's a sprinter. It didn't even scream or nothing. Just started chasing after me through the house. The run-in with the sprinter brings about a cold, hard truth. Imagine if he had been eaten then. After those weeks of struggle in the basement, hilarious and horrible, treasure every moment, Rotley, every sip of cold spaghetti bolognese, every trundle of the bicycle wheel over cracked, dead leaves. The houses are not proving very fruitful, so Rotley decides to make a break for the edge of the town, where there's a bar and some small shops. He cycles along the dead streets, dodging zombies. He wants to check out the bar first, as bars usually mean booze and cigs. Rotley's 2 favourite things. But first he needs to clear the area of the undead. This guy's called Benny Whipple. I'm going to take that because that's just funny. Let's see if we can sneak inside then. I see chips. I see cigarettes. I see life. Once they're all dead, extra dead, he sneaks into the bar and begins grazing chips from the bar tables and putting loose cigs in his pockets. He can finally enjoy a cigarette, his first in days. Let's just have a peaceful smoke, Rotley. God damn, that feels good, doesn't it, little buddy? Okay, a little bit of peace and goddamn quiet. Cigarette pack, fantastic. By the time he's finished looting, it's starting to get a tiny bit late. He needs to find a place to stay for the night, so he cycles through the trees and clears out the area around this small house. Once inside, snuggled up in the little bedroom, Rotley gets absolutely trolleyed, car-parked, gobsmacked, pringled, dangled, bangled on several bottles of wine and some sips of vodka. My little friend needs a little bit of light relief. It's been a long old couple of weeks. The 16th annual West Point hot dog eating competition had a tragic end as the winner, Bolton Jupiter, passed away shortly after winning. He held up the trophy, said an onlooker, a little wiener with shades, then he keeled over on a bucket of mayonnaise. That's a bit sad, isn't it? To be honest, I'd rather die of eating hot dogs than die of being eaten by a zombie. Or eaten by a giant hot dog, for that matter. We should take a moment to reflect. We are still alive, and our feet are back to normal. 2 months today, actually. It was 2-month anniversary today. We took blacksmith because I wanted to try and do some blacksmithing, but it's been 2 months already, and Rotley's basically done nothing. He's lived in a basement for a month. Sub nomad run. It happens sometimes. Sometimes you forget you're not wearing shoes. What can I say? To end the evening, he crafts some smoking pipes, Rotley's calling card, and then falls asleep in a drunken stupor. He munches on some mushrooms for breakfast and then heads back out through the woods on his bicycle. She got distracted by the watch. Love that stuff. Rotley checks out the small fresh food shop and things start to get a little weird. It must be those mushrooms he ate for breakfast. We've all been there, Rotley. Whoa, what the f... Oh my god. What has happened? Whee! He's cycling on air. Rotley's finally lost his goddamn mind. Okay, there we go. It fixed itself. I was a little concerned there for a second. The larger shop yields almost nothing except for some chickpeas. It's a little disappointing, but at this point, Rotley will take anything. At least he's not in the basement anymore. Before skipping town, Rotley just wants to take a deep breath of the river in the spring air and check out this bait shop. Like all bait shops in Knox Country, it is entirely empty. I believe the zombies just love fishing. Just put the fries in the bag, bro. Just put the fries in the bag. In this case, just put the ketchup in your bag. The burger shop is also devoid of anything really that useful. He finds another house to spend the night in, kills zombies, forages, and then sets up for the evening. Little handful of wild penis. Very peaceful little life. We're going to keep our vegetables in a cupboard next to our bed, just like I do in real life. I always keep an emergency sweet potato tucked underneath my pillow. I like to keep cucumbers in my bedside table, and I like to keep 4 bottles of ketchup ready to go at a moment's notice, just in case I need them. And a calf skull, of course. He downs half a bottle of vodka before bed. That'll send you right to sleep, rotters. Rotley wakes up and checks out the new street names on his map. They have magically appeared overnight. Maybe the mushrooms are heightening his perception of the world, and then spends the morning carving pipes. It's still a bit early out, so he makes slow and steady progress down the road towards the edge of Riverside. He's just a little curious about what's down here. Ah, a gas station. Gas stations typically mean cigarettes, but on this occasion, nothing but candles and lighter fluid. Then he checks out the small rural police station. None of the zombies have keys on, and he can't disassemble the door to the gun room. Oh well, maybe he'll be back another time. The morning is extremely foggy and cold. He uses the cover of the fog to sneak a little further into town. Rotley clears out the area around the spiffos and heads inside to collect more of the one true nectar, the blood of the gods, 10-year-old ketchup. A fine vintage, so good that he must stop to drink a whole bottle before continuing with the day. Rotley admires this treehouse in an overgrown children's park, although he doesn't know how to climb a ladder. Don't ask me why or how that is even possible, but Rotley just can't. Maybe he's scared of heights. As he wanders slowly back to his small base, foraging as he goes, Rotley begins to wonder about what's next for his life. What is his purpose? He has no purpose. There is no purpose. The world is dead and he is the only person in it. The purpose is only what you make of it. In this case, Rotley just wants more cigarettes, and that, for now, is a reason to exist. And to explore, to experience, like finding a pineapple in the depths of a Kentucky late winter. Something strange has happened to the world, and Rotley just wants to live in it. Back at base, he starts a small fire and cooks up some of the veggies and mushrooms he'd found on the way home. Find inspiration in the desolation, he sniffs a small hit of correction fluid. He reads, then sleeps. We've now passed day 50, although I'm sure we lost some days in the basement times, but we'll continue on as normal. Rotley has no real idea of how many days has passed since the apocalypse. He didn't bother to keep counting. Time is a purely human invention, and he's the only human left. The only time that matters to him is Rotley time, and that's just about sniffing correction fluid, eating mushrooms, and scavenging for cigarettes in a ruined world. It's honest work. Rotley has finally gathered the materials needed to craft a tent, which will help him a lot on the next leg of his journey. He packs it up and straps it to the bottom of his bag. Wasting no time at all, it's back on the bike. The road rolls steadily onwards. Rotley stops to clear up some zombies. There's no real reason to do so. He just woke up with a small spark of violence in his head. He scans the junkyard, but there's nothing there but a whole lot of trees, wrecked cars, and a bunch of dead mechanics. Rotley turns out of Riverside and just keeps cycling. He doesn't really know where he's going, but with the tent he feels secure enough to venture into the countryside a little bit. He passes a large factory but decides not to stop. A little further on, he spies a gas station through the trees, which is much more his style. Unfortunately, there are a lot of the dead here. Oh my god, that's a lot of zombies. Alrighty then. Looks like we've got a small party on our hands. That gas station might have cigarettes, but I think we should probably just take this a little bit cautiously. Oh, okay. Time to go. Rotley plops down the tent in the middle of the road. Buddy, I don't necessarily think that's a very good idea. A zombie is going to nibble your foot in the middle of the night. Maybe the factory is a little safer. Or maybe not. I can hear a lot of zombies, but can't see them, which is creeping me out. So yeah, I'm just going to leave that. I think they must be on a second floor or something. Using a little bit of slightly wiser judgment, Rotley decides to fall back to a farmhouse he'd seen a little earlier on. He still needs to clear the perimeter, and as the evening begins to roll in, the zombies become more violent. Oh, dealt with that sprinter fairly easily. Rotley drinks some ketchup and scans an old newspaper. It's odd seeing the world as it was before, all those years ago. Rotley hasn't seen another human in over 10 years. As far as he knows, he is the last man on Earth. Good night, mate. Sweet dreams with that lovely thought. Rotley wakes up quite early, so he reads some of his collection of paperbacks to cheer himself up. I love how his feet never touch the bottom. Rotley must be really quite short. We stan our short kings. Tiny little man. He heads out towards the gas station again in the hopes of acquiring more vegetables. Oops, that's not the right words. He heads out towards the gas station again in the hopes of acquiring more cigarettes, but he will have to fight for them. Actually, he spends most of the morning fighting. Eventually, around 4 hours after he started, he kills the last zombie and can sneak into the gas station. Not a cig in sight. Feeling a little depressed, Rotley doesn't let it get him down too much, and instead takes a moment to enjoy the smaller things in life. He investigates this wee little diner, nothing inside, and almost pays the ultimate price for the nothingness. Nothing even in here. Oh my god. Oh. That was close. Stay focused, Rotley, please. Rotley decides to camp out in the gas station to survey a little more of the nearby area. There's a trailer park just a short walk away that might have something interesting in it. The woods around it are full of the undead, though. By the time the fog clears and he actually makes it to the trailer park, it's getting late and he's hungry, so he returns to the gas station and starts a fire. Doesn't seem like the smartest idea having a campfire next to some petrol pumps, but Rotley's just going to assume that those petrol pumps are actually empty. Rotley realises he can't actually get into his tent, so he moves it into another room. He has to shift this bin in front of the door to stop zombies saying hello in the night. He gets some rest, not the most comfortable night's sleep by any means, especially because he forgot to bring his sleeping bag with him. It's okay, Rotley, I know you had other things on your mind. Start the day with a bottle of ketchup, as your ancestors intended. So we'll read this book to cheer us up. Drink ketchup, read books. This is the mindset grind set, Rotley. Then it's out towards the trailer park to see what it's all about. As expected, the trailer park is basically devoid of anything useful, except we do find this small animal trailer. One single sheep. Now, what do we do about that? Do we release it? I think so. It's been surviving for 10 years. And it's gone. I'd be freaking out as well. Don't get eaten. To be honest, not much else to see. A rather unproductive day of wandering around empty trailers. He returns to his tent to drink a bottle of wine. On the following day, it's just time to go. Rotley's got itchy feet. Spring has sprung, and with it comes a breath of adventure. No lake to be found, but this small bit of electrical infrastructure seems like a good place as any to set up shop while he explores whatever lies beyond this large fence. Rotley gets a fire going to cook up some more veggies. He reads well into the evening and then comes to a bit of a realization while stumbling drunkenly through the woods. Ah yes, now, the one thing I did actually forget about is water. Water could be an issue. Oh, careful. God, he almost walked into the fire because he's drunk. And we actually don't have any water with us either. Okay, well, we'll leave that as a problem for another day, I think. Thankfully, we do have some stuff that we can drink, like this ginger ale. We've got wine, booze. Oh, we've got loads of water here. A Harst Rotley. This is a genius. I forgot that we had all that water in our... Oh, hello. Thank you, Ghost Rotley Past. I want to clear a path into this gated area because I don't know what's in there, Rotley. And I'm curious. He has no idea what's beyond the large fence, and to be honest, he's just curious about what might be inside. Rotley has never been to this part of Knox Country before. This cool lady is an ex-survivor ravaged by the dead at some point, covered in bandages but carrying a duffel bag full of loads of books. Seems like a bit of a mental thing to be carrying around because books are pretty heavy, but maybe she really liked reading, or was simply on a loot run from the bookshop in Riverside. There are also a couple of maps in her bag with some scribbled notes on. Carlin's moved here. Debbie, go to them if you need help. Don't go anywhere at night. It's the closest Rotley has come to a human being for months, even if it's just remnants of her past life. The presence of the survivor zombie at the entrance to whatever this area is fills Rotley with mere curiosity, so he pushes on. Fighting in the trees is a little awkward, but Rotley just goes carefully. He kills zombies all day, then forages in the early evening on the way back to his tent. Food is still a major issue, as he can sustain himself just about on vegetables and mushrooms, but Rotley needs some meat. Much the same on the following day, more zombie skulls to crush. Eventually he comes across this small gatehouse. It's just another checkpoint on his adventure into the gated area, but it might be somewhere where he can stay for a little bit. He spends the evening setting up the tent, a fire, and carving some smoking pipes. In the morning, he sneaks across this large car park and up a smaller street. He still has no idea what's here, but he is curious. A little further on, he spies a swimming pool through the trees. Ah, it must be some sort of resort. He carries on. West Maple Country Club. The country club has deteriorated a lot over the years. It's dark and smells like the forest inside. He finds the large ballroom, and the bar has a few snacks and bottles of beer left over from a long, long ago, covered in dust. Things get a little sketchy when a group of zombies shambles into the dark corridor. More of them gather outside and inside, and he runs down the corridor looking for a different exit, but there's only one way out. He can't fight many more of them, as he's already a little exhausted. Oh my god. Okay. That was quite an unpleasant experience and hardly worth the danger, so he makes his way back to his temporary camp. While he's out foraging, he finds something so important. Baby rabbit. What a godsend. Just a random baby rabbit. Thank you, baby rabbit. I'm so sorry I had to brutally bash you over the head like that. That rabbit is essential. It will keep him going for a few more days, but to survive much longer, he needs a reliable source of protein. Rabbit. Delicious baby rabbit. He checks the map and sees that there's some lakes near the country club. He might be able to fish there. With his belly full of rabbit, Rotley consumes a lot of alcohol. Wine, tequila, beer, stuff he'd found in the country club. It's enough to get his weight to go up after several days of struggling. Bottle of tequila and a bottle of wine. Oh, Rotley. Oh, God. You're going to vomit everywhere. He wakes up on the next day with an absolutely killer hangover. But a bit of fresh air and a quick bicycle ride to the lake next to the country club is enough to clear his head. No time for hangovers in the apocalypse, Rotley. Heard a zombie? Rotters clears out a few of the dead around the lake and gets to fishing. Unfortunately, it is a massive waste of time. He fishes for several hours and doesn't catch a single fish, only bits of wire netting, bottles and cans. Well, this sucks. I don't think fishing is going to be our answer, Rotley. He returns to the camp dejected and eats some more vegetables. Rotley also has no cigarettes left. The ups and downs of life in the apocalypse. It's never just okay, is it, Rotters? Before abandoning whatever the hell this place is, he tries the other road he'd spied earlier through the trees. It leads him to a collection of large, detached houses. There are a few zombies around, but also food and other supplies. Nothing major to report on until it's much darker. Rotley is currently at the final house, having looted all of the others. But it's getting dark, and he's managed to attract a sizable group from the woods around him. He has to kill the zombies one by one, otherwise they'll eat him when he's sleeping, and they just keep coming, and it just gets darker. In the end, he just has to go to sleep in the hopes that the table in front of the bedroom door saves his life again. As expected, when he wakes up, there's a zombie at the door bashing on the table, and Rotley jumps from the first floor window. He cycles back to the camp. No more silly little risks for Rotley. Rotley eats some rats and mice that he'd killed while looting. It's not much and it makes him very sad, but the protein is good and nice. Rotley gets drunk again and reads a few magazines, doing absolutely nothing this day for some reason. The magazines include some stuff about how to make box traps and stuff. Who knows? He goes foraging in the evening and he does find another baby rabbit, which is incredibly lucky, and then heads back to the camp to prepare more food. Eggs, glorious eggs. Oh, I can eat frog. Now you're telling me I just needed to butcher it in the crafting menu. Tomorrow we explore, Rotley. We continue on our journey because, turns out, we still need cigarettes. Rotley has survived and enters the last month of his 100 days on the road. But things are about to get extremely difficult and quite annoying. Food, my dear viewers, is of utmost importance, and apparently 25 cabbages, several dead rats, dozens of limes, 6 turnips, 5 frog's legs, 6 peppers, as well as the juicy flesh of 45 sweet beets is not enough to sustain the average man as he sits around and does very little. Thank you, Project Zomboid, for being so outstandingly realistic. And here we go. Rotley is entering the last month of his 100 days, and what you have here is 4 hours of footage condensed down into a short little episode of just unbelievable suffering and pain. Rotley cycles west, or north, or whatever direction it is. Directions have very little meaning when you're just a directionless little man. He cycles until he finds the edge of a small derelict town. I mean, more derelict than usual. This is the McCoy logging village, Rotley remembers. His good old friend Musty Frank used to live here long after everyone else shut up shop. He'll go see if his old pal's house is still standing, or if there's anything useful over there. Rotley reaches Musty Frank's house, and unfortunately everyone is dead, though they were clearly having a party when the world ended. Happy birthday to you. It was some kind of weird-ass party where everyone is wearing funny tuxedo t-shirts, but then Musty Frank was always a weird fella. Not much here, and no dead Frank either, but there are some cigs left over from the party. Perfect. He also acquires some of Frank's old traps. These might actually help catch a rabbit or two. Rotley is going to sleep at Frank's house, so he secures the room and settles down on a single bed. In the morning, Rotley finds Frank dead in the shed and pats his old pal on the head. He walks back to his bicycle on the foggy morning sporting a new white cowboy hat. Jesus. Two sprinters in the fog. God, the sounds they make. Absolutely horrifying. After the run-in with the double sprinters, he makes it quickly back to his bike and begins cycling again, and keeps on cycling and cycling. He finds another little substation. These are turning out to be an excellent spot to set up for a couple of days while exploring whatever is nearby. He spies another diner through the trees, with a few Zeds around of course, but the diner itself is totally empty. Rotley takes out a few more in the lot of the neighbouring gas station, but he's a bit too tired at the mo to take them all on. Rotley gets a fire going and roasts some more rats. That rat's not going to make him feel great, but it's the protein we need to make sure that our weight stays above a healthy limit. He clears out a few zombies nearby to make sure he doesn't get nibbled on in the night, and then gets some sleep. Rotley doesn't sleep too well, so just waits out the morning staring into the void, then heads out again towards the gas station. A few more zombies to kill, and then slides in to see if there are any cigs inside. Newsflash, there are no cigs inside. Rotley is going to go hungry for nicotine once again. He clears out some more Zeds, then takes a rest. Read a comic book and listen to the sound of a sizzling frog on an open fire. Just delicious, Rotley. Then it's time to hit the gun store just over the road. There are loads of bullets here, but not actually many guns. He heads back into the woods to set up one of Musty Frank's traps and baits it with carrots, hoping to catch some rabbits. He tries to line up a shot on a rabbit with one of the pistols he just found in the gun store, but there's absolutely no way he's going to hit that shot. He reads a couple of books to boost his mood, then sleeps again. There's a camping store he visits on the next day, and he yoinks this upgraded tent. He heads up the road a little and runs into a bigger group of Zeds, so he tests out his new pistol. The bodies ragdoll hilariously. He checks his traps on the next day, and all he's caught is this cute baby raccoon. After killing it, he realises he can't even butcher it for some reason, so that was a pointless murder, Rotley. Food is really starting to become a problem. His weight has dropped into the low weight category. It's quite frustrating that he can't eat the baby raccoon even though he is currently starving. He decides to investigate historic coalfield as a last-ditch attempt to find some goddamn loot. It's just a weird little Wild West recreation town just up the road. There's not much here other than dead Zeds and a fancy new raccoon hat. The game is taunting him about that tasty, delicious dead baby raccoon. He sets up his new tent and sits on the porch. In the morning, it's raining, and he ruminates on his difficult situation. What are we meant to do, Rotley? What on earth are we meant to do, buddy? It feels like whatever he eats is not enough food. No matter how many onions and wild veggies and frogs and rats he eats, he still starves. What is the answer? Whatever the answer is, he doesn't find it in historic coalfield. Just loads of zombies and no useful loot, so he leaves and returns to the small substation. This time at Musty Frank's trap, he finds a rabbit, which he can actually butcher, thank God. Unfortunately, though, he has no lighter or matches left, so he needs to forage for a stick to carve into a plank and a tree branch to light the fire. He does eventually manage to get a fire going, even in the pouring rain. It's just an unbelievable struggle to stay alive, Rotley. Oh, this is making me mad now. We need to change tactics, Rotley. We're going to need to change tactics, buddy. We're going to need to settle down, because this is too difficult. I don't understand. I just think the nutrition system's just busted. It's just so stupid. Like, I'm eating so much food. Like, this is the kind of food that would make a normal man, like, just start throwing up everywhere because they're eating too much food. You've been violently sick. You've just eaten a rabbit, a frog, and 7 eggs, Rotley. What the fuck? As you can hear, Project Zomboid was starting to get to me a little bit at this point. We just send him off foraging and then sleep again. It's all we can do. On the next day, he gets the hell out of Dodge. Gotta keep moving. He needs to find a reliable source of food quickly. He needs a large lake or river to fish in, or at least a place with plenty of food supplies left over. He finds a side path that leads to a small gated community. It's covered in the undead, but it might be worth fighting for, so fight he does. There are multiple military zombies here, and police too, a very high concentration. What happened here all those years ago? Sadly, Rotley will never know the answer, and can only speculate about the chaos that once unfolded here. One of the military zombies has a sapphire on their person. Why would they be carrying a gem with them? Is it some mystical item, a good luck charm, or some government conspiracy he will never understand? Ah, the mysteries of Knox Country. He kills more and more and more, then retreats down the road where he set up his tent. I've also noticed quite an annoying bug with the bicycle mod, but that be life when you're playing modded build 42. Noticed a bug here with the bicycle mod also, that my bicycle basket keeps disappearing and deleting everything inside of it. So, yeah. On the following day, he's able to reach the first house in the gated area and find some dried apricots in a cupboard. It's not much, but it is something, at least. He also finds some perfectly calorific chips in another house. Oh. There are more military zombies, including this guy with an assault rifle. This is some heavy-duty stuff. Rotley could make use of it, but there's not much point right now. Food is the most important thing, and he simply doesn't have space on the bike for the assault rifle. Unfortunately, the houses are mostly empty, and even though there are soldiers with gear here, that's not what he needs. He packs up his tent and then hits the road again. He keeps cycling right past Mad Dan's hardware, which looks interesting but is just covered with zombies and probably not worth looting. Rotley gets a little lost in the sauce on the bicycle and rides into the trees by accident and almost gets noshed by a zombie. He hops off and tries to gain control over the situation. Down a little path, he finds an isolated house. Nothing here, but it can act as a temporary base. A bit further on, a goddamn miracle. An actual miracle. These cabbages are ready to harvest. How many cabbages do we have? 23. Okay. Calm. Rotley harvests 23 cabbages, and the field is still full of them. Will this be what he needs to save his life? No, my dearest viewer, a man can eat 1,000 cabbages, but he will still starve to death. But at least it's something. Will these cabbages stop us from starving? Probably not. Because the game's broken. It's not like Britain was basically built on people eating nothing but cabbages to survive. For God's sake, cabbage soup! It's annoying me. I don't know if you can tell, it's annoying me. We don't have anything to light our goddamn cigarette with. Don't worry, Rotley, I will do everything I can to keep you alive, even if it means sawing off your own arm and eating it. We'll turn to cannibalism of the dead if we have to. Realistically, though, we need to find a nice big pond and fish for several months. That is the only way to survive. Will we find one? Well, I sure hope we do. Otherwise, Rotley is going to die, stuffed to the brim with cabbages. There's nothing here, Rotley. Fair enough, to be honest. It is a little bit scary, isn't it? He's drowsy, hopeless, at breaking point, in severe pain, chilly, a little bit uncomfortable. It stinks, but he is full to bursting with cabbages. How many cabbages can a man eat? How many cabbages can a man consume? You got to read a bunch of books, Rotley, because you're feeling a bit miserable. Got our weight going up for a little bit. Let's just go straight to sleep. On day 73, as he cycles along, he thinks he remembers this area. His uncle had a fishing cabin nearby, just east of Echo Creek. Hopefully he can find it in the thick undergrowth. Maybe his uncle is still out there, fishing just like he used to. Even without the apocalypse, his uncle was an old fella, and most likely dead. He finds the path he recognises just about. The foliage is so thick. He does spy the lake, however, so he works his way around the edge towards the cabin. There is a large group of zombies here, and his hammer breaks immediately, so it comes down to a bit of push and shove kung fu. He manages to kill the zombies and then investigates the cabin. There's a skeleton in the doorway. Is this his uncle? Quite probably. There's no ID on the body, so you can never know. And obviously he can't be sure. He just has a feeling. He'll bury him later.
Tessie. Huh. This is Aunt. Haven't heard that name for a while.
First, though, he needs to get himself set up and fishing as soon as possible. He sets up the trap in the woods and baits it with some cabbage. Hopefully he can catch another rabbit. Rotley builds a campfire and cooks 3 delicious rats. It's miserable eating all these rats, but it's the only thing keeping him going right now. He settles down for the first night's sleep in the cabin. On day 74, Rotley eats a rat for breakfast, then it's straight to fishing, and he manages to catch his first tiny fish using a bit of frog meat as bait. Maybe, just maybe, we're going to be okay, Rotley. After a morning of fishing, he gets his first level. With no further skill books, this is going to be one hell of a grind, but Rotley literally has all the time in the world. A perpetual fishing trip. His uncle would have dreamed about days like these.
Frog. We need frog, Rotley. Frog is the answer.
He cooks up the small fish. It's not much, but its juicy, tendy little bodies are packed with protein and fats. He needs these to survive. And hopefully he can catch a bigger fish as he gets more experienced with fishing. Rotley digs a couple of graves in prep for burying his uncles and the others nearby. Then it's back to fishing. And he catches a larger fish, enough to actually slice into some fillets.
That's good.
The fish are great, but he soon realises you're unable to cleanse the tainted water inside the canteen. He's going to need a pot to boil his water in, but where's he going to get one of those from? He might need to venture out in a few days when he runs out of water in his bottles and taps.
Good night, mate.
For now, he rests. Rotley has a lot more fishing to do. On day 75, he continues fishing, but he just catches broken nets and tin cans. This isn't going very well. He gives up and goes foraging, and while doing so finds a path in the woods. His uncle never brought him out this way, but he decides to follow it anyway.
Whoa. What's this?
The path leads to a large, abandoned building in the woods. The place is overrun with rats, and he kills as many as he can for dinner later. He ventures inside the ruined building. It appears to be a large boarding school with some small rooms for students. Rotley investigates the various rooms, but there isn't much loot here, really. Just some leftover rubbish, some small snacks. He finds a stick of lard on the floor and hooves it up. Any food is good food. He finds an absolutely classic snack.
Margarine.
The small rooms have antique ovens, which would be great for the cabin, but the thought of hauling that through the woods fills Rotley with dread. A project for another day, maybe. Rotley investigates further until the night begins to draw in. He'll stay in one of the dorm rooms for the night. He drinks a couple of beers because he feels a tiny bit on edge. On the next day, he investigates the large open courtyard and the other building. He eats any snacks he finds on the floor. Rotley checks out the greenhouse, but there isn't much inside. With that, he has looted the entire place. It's time to head back to the cabin before it gets dark. Rotley decides that it's probably warm enough to plant some crops. He doesn't know anything about farming, but it's worth a try. Put thing in ground, thing grow. It can't be that hard, right?
Come on, uncle. Let's bury you, buddy.
He pulls a chair from the cabin and reads in front of the fire. He eats another rat and then goes to bed.
More rats for the rat god. Good morning, Rotley. Rat for breakfast, as per usual.
On the following day, it's time to start a new project. Rotley thinks he isn't catching very good fish because the deck is all broken. If he can level up carpentry, he can repair the deck and hopefully reach some deeper water. So he begins sawing and chopping. It's tough work and the rain comes pouring down, and he stops for a cig break. The weather is a bit too grim to continue working outside, so he reads a book and then tills some more soil, as he wants to capitalise on the rain to hopefully water some more crops. Rotley eats some dry pasta and then goes to bed.
Let's get some rest. Should have set an alarm.
In the morning, it's back to work. He chops, he fishes, he cooks the fish he catches. Not many, not very large, but some. He saws, he chops, he rests. He's about halfway through level 0 carpentry. Still a bit more work to be done. He chops, he crafts, he rips down the old shed next to the cabin for nails, and he sleeps.
Good night, Rotley.
Rotley finds purpose in the menial, manual tasks.
So many frogs.
So many frogs, Rotley! He goes foraging in the early hours, then he works all day, chopping and sawing and then resting. Not much else.
What a peaceful little life, Rotley.
On the next morning, he fishes in the fog. Visibility is so poor he can barely see his float. The work continues into the next day, until at last, at about 4 p.m, he reaches level 1 in carpentry.
Nice, at last.
He needs to disassemble some more stuff for nails, however, and then he can finally repair the deck. Rotley uses his new deck to go fishing, and the first fish he catches levels him up. Excellent stuff, little rotters. We can probably extend the deck a little bit to help him reach even further into the depths. He does exactly this on the next day, disassembling a few more things. He'll keep adding to the deck as he goes. There's always the boarding school just through the trees, which is full of items to disassemble for nails if he ever runs out near here. Rotley needs to keep foraging to help balance out his diet. It's an endless struggle against his own body.
Wow, this is such a struggle. It's hilarious how much of a struggle this is. This sucks. I'm not having fun.
Even though he has extended his deck and is using the right bait and fishing at the correct time, Rotley is hardly catching anything.
I just want to catch some fish, man.
It's really starting to annoy him.
Oh, I don't want any more fishing f***ing nets.
He's starving to death. He has all the right tools, and yet he must suffer. He can't even fix the fishing nets because he doesn't have the recipe, but he's staring at the nets and thinking, I can probably fix this. I know how to fix this. Why can't I fix this?
But I've been fishing. If I had a fishing rod and some bait and several days, I could catch some fish. Bigger fish than this. Recipe not learned. When did you learn the recipe for it?
In the end, he just gives up and goes to bed. He can do no more on this day. He tries again on the next day, but Rotley is starting to go mad. The definition of insanity. To repeat that which is pointless endlessly. A lack of fish is really starting to take a toll on him. Rotley cooks the tiny fish he'd caught, 3 fish, after an entire day's fishing, and his weight is still going down. He tries some more, but in the end surrenders, defeated by the lake.
We got to figure out something, Rotley. But I don't know what.
On day 84, Rotley sows some more seeds, then heads out to the boarding school again to disassemble more furniture. The deck must grow, and for that he needs nails. Though first he kills some rats for sustenance. Thankfully, there's also some desk ketchup some long-lost child had left behind. He sleeps over in one of the bunk rooms. In the morning, he checks whether he can carry the antique oven, but it weighs an ungainly 40 kilograms, way too heavy for him to carry on his own. He heads back. At camp, he starts a fire and roasts some rats and mushrooms, then works on his deck with his newly acquired, I literally can't say that word, nails. Then it's time to fish. While fishing, Rotley can reflect on his last 3 months. Part of him wishes he'd just stayed put in Phallus Lake with the pigs, and he could have grown crops on the roof and made the town his home. Instead, here he is, on a ratchet deck, fishing with no luck at his uncle's abandoned cabin. And he is slowly starving to death. He catches some fish, tiny little fish, and roasts them on the fire, and smokes a lonely cigarette. The world grows dark as he snuggles down in the tent. In the morning he fishes, cooks his fish, and repeats the endless cycle. It doesn't matter how many fish he eats, they are too small, and they do not stave off his gnawing stomach. He is desperate with hunger. He starts to see swirling objects at the corner of his vision. His stomach is eating itself. Rotley sits on the end of the deck. Foraging, fishing, death, suffering, tedium, sleep. Early morning fishing in the dark, illuminated with torchlight, reading on the end of the deck. The soft churl of the water, stomach gnawing. He scours the lake for fish. He can't see any activity on the water. Even in his most desperate time, the fish ignore him and they tease him. No fish anywhere. Nowhere. He cooks his final little fish. Rotley simply cannot stay here. He will starve. And he is already losing his mind. In a state of delirium, Rotley gets onto his bike. His weight is dropping dangerously low. He cycles madly through the woods, and then through the trees, a zombie lunges from behind a stump.
Oh my god. Oh my god, he got a laceration. Oh my god, on his head. On his head. Oh my god. He's got no rags. He's got no rags. He's got no rags. Rotley. Oh my god, he's got no rags. He's got no rags. He's got no rags. Oh, no. Oh. Oh my god. After all of that. Rotley, you poor bastard. 10 years of your life. You spend 3 months, 8 days and 2 hours with me and you die. Oh, you reckless, foolish, reckless little man. I mean, we really went through some struggles together, didn't we, buddy? Christ. Oh, no. I was speeding up time and he got lacerated in the neck. He didn't have any bandages on him. I suppose he was a little bit delirious from being so hungry. Oh. You poor, poor bastard. Alright, well. Thanks for watching. I feel like I've learned a lot on this journey. Quite a lot of suffering involved. For a bicycle nomad run, I think he spent most of his time in a hole of some description. Starving to death or having hurt feet. We can't see the map now, but I think we traversed some of it. Not very much of it. Oh, Rotley. Rotley. What a way to go. What a way to go.
a sprinter. Yeah, cycle like your life depends on it, Rotley, because it does, in fact, depend on it. God, there's so many.